Overrule that. So instead, we'll talk to the author of one of the best title books of all time, Grow a Pair, Larry Winget, on with us to tell us, maybe, Larry, what this rally in the Dow to almost 20,000 means for normal folks. One of the best book covers of all time, too, by the way. What this rally means for normal folks just looking at their 401k statements, right? We all open it up and say, boy, that's pretty good. Better up than down. What should people do with that information? Nothing? Just let it sit? Or what do you think?
Well, I think I'd just relax for a little while and see what happens. You know, the problem is that you got a lot smarter people on today than I am about what's going on in the stock market. But the problem is that we have all these newbies out there who, and you have to remember, 53% of Americans are not in the market at all,
right,
who say, wow, this is terrific, this is amazing, and I better jump in. And they've never had a financial plan, much less a financial planner, and they want to play their own broker, so they get online and start buying stocks. So they say, I can participate in this now, and they're going to lose their butts by doing that.
I will say this, Larry, we have less of that, I think, than we did years ago, right, when people would watch it and they would do, especially when the internet first came around and you had, to your point, that opportunity to do it online. There were so many people that just had no clue what they were doing were in the market. But I think professionals who, by the way, we can argue about how much of a clue there is there in some cases too, but professionals seem to be controlling this now more, don't you think? Or
I do think professionals are controlling it more and more. I would still tell folks, though, to relax just a bit and watch this. Everybody tries to predict, and I don't think it's predictable. Most of the research that I've done says it's probably going to go up more. So if you want to invest in these 30 stocks that make up the Dow, then it might be a good idea for you. Then again, it might not be a good idea for you, depending on your age and your income and where you are. That's always got to be taken into consideration.
Now, another thing I think that should be taken into consideration is that not everything is coming up roses, right? I mean, there are a number of factors that you look at. We talked about some of them earlier in the hour that could be kind of question marks that make us pause just a little bit and say, hey, where are we? One of them that we're going to talk to you about was how much debt we all have. And I was surprised to see some data that says we're in more debt now than we were before the financial crisis. I mean, there's a good debt, bad debt argument, I think, and all of that. But isn't that remarkable in some ways? A lot of it's student loans, I guess. And people are, just as much, if not more, in debt than they were back then.
Yeah, people are more in debt. But it shouldn't be that surprising when you look at what's going on. When wages have been fairly stagnant, fairly level, and yet expenses are going way up, there's only two choices you have. You can either cut back on your lifestyle, or you can go deeper in debt to support the lifestyle that you're used to. Sadly, it's easier to go in debt than it is to cut back on your lifestyle, because we are not a society that's good at saying no to ourselves. We are not good with that kind of discipline.
No, we're not. It does bring up the larger question going forward. There's so much optimism about the new policies to be put in place by the administration. Will that kind of situation that you described change? Because incomes have started to go up a little bit, right? But to your point, expenses going up even more. Do you see the two flipping anytime in the near future?
No, I don't see them flipping at all. See, the problem with optimism is that that's a feeling, and we need to count on something a little more concrete. You can look at your wage statement when you get your next paycheck and see that's pretty much what you've got to work with.
Right.
And a feeling, while it's a good thing, has no impact on what your wage statement is, and it really doesn't have much of an impact on how much your expenses are going up. So you need to really take a breath and look at your lifestyle and say, how can I pull back on my lifestyle so I'm not going deeper in debt to support myself?
So you're worried then about the country overall, about the way that, I mean, you always are, I would think, but it seems like we have more and more optimistic people coming on lately, and I'm not sure if you're one of them.
I am optimistic. I'm very hopeful. But again, those are just emotions. I'm a little bit more of a realist, and I want to look at what really happens instead of betting on just a feeling of hope and optimism. We've done that before, and it bit us in the butt.
Right. You come in, you say, oh, the policies are going to be more in favor of business. Taxes are going to be lower. We're going to get spending on infrastructure. All might help the economy. All might help the stock market. But will all happen? Will they actually come to fruition? Will they get through the Congress? Things like that,
Exactly. There's a lot we still have to wait and see on. Optimism is a great thing, and I'm all for it. I just don't want to see us relate so much to optimism that we go out and continue to spin hoping that things will get better.
All right, Larry, good to see you. Thank you very much. And I said
Good
was a good opportunity for us to show your book again on the screen. So it is a good cover and a good title. Thank you, sir. Larry Winget with us today. And coming up next.